Gum.
Oh, I better get rid of that, huh? This is MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Brian Garcia, a.k.a. Gozinho.
Call him Goose.
And I am Royce Young, a.k.a. Torrance Beach Bad Boy, a.k.a. Jamoan.
2 minutes.
Because I am Japanese and Samoan, it is... well, the eyes give it away.
The Japanese part is very debatable.
That's what we're going to get into today.
I guess it wouldn't have made too much sense if you said, I'm Samoan, right? I mean, everybody would have went, okay, let's pick me. So, Jamoan, yeah. Half Japanese. Well, half Japanese, half Samoan? Is that what it is? Okay.
Mom's
What side
Japanese. Mom's Japanese, dad's Samoan. The Samoan side has the Young name. And we are
Living in where now?
Virginia, yeah.
Holy cow, so how close have you been to
I used to live in Northern Virginia.
What part?
We're in
I would like Fairfax and like Centerville area, and then
So, have you ever driven 66 westward and you see like
just pick us up and take us straight to the base.
right on. Gigi's
I-
inserting himself in the conversation.
I was all the way out in Warrenton and like
Well, no, because I'm having two
Jefferson and stuff, too.
conversations. I'm talking to Danny and you. No, but he was saying
We're
he
coming
used to
up in
live
a
in
minute.
Fairfax. But have you ever driven on 66 West and you see the signs that say going towards Front Royal?
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I was all the way out. At one point, I lived all the way out in like Jeffersonton and like Bealton,
Okay.
like that kind of area.
Okay, so-
Warrenton was like the biggest town by us. for a
Yeah,
while.
yeah. So Warrenton is still a little bit east of where I'm at. So Front Royal is just before the end of 66 where it meets the 81. So I'm in a place called
Up in 30.
Middletown that's just
Okay.
south of Winchester, which is about half
Hey.
hour south of the West Virginia border.
Okay.
Didn't he insert?
Cool.
Sorry.
Didn't he actually insert himself into our conversation? We were hosting the show.
That's
and
true.
We talked about
Are we live?
Virginia.
Yeah.
It's a pre-show, yeah.
Oh, my bad.
I mean, yeah, it's what he said.
So we go to
Coming up in
Langley
10.
Air Base. How close is that to you?
It's Langley is.
Yeah, 5 seconds.
Coming up in 5.
That's McLean,
Standing
isn't
by.
it?
You got 3 seconds.
So it's about an hour and a half.
That's it?
This
When
is
did you
Captain.
let me know you were
We are
here?
making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMA Junkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is gonna be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Gold. This is what we do and why we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMA Junkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space,
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
we've solidified our combat communication stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMA Junkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology, MMA Junkie Radio, commence transmission. Live from MMA Junkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes, our ace co-host, back east, handling all the producing duties. It's going to be Danny, sitting to my right. Old School Tag is in the house. This is Royce Young, also known as Jamoan, because he's half Japanese, half Samoan, even though at first glance he looks 99% Samoan. But we've known him for a long time. He supported us when we were just Tag Radio
Do you know how we met him?
at the LA Coliseum, right?
Passing out flyers. You know who else we met that day?
Juan Lee, Tran?
Yeah, and another one? Yeah, that guy too. But
Anyone
also
else?
Nick Sanchez.
Nick Sanchez, there you go.
Those are 3 big people. in
Well,
our
4,
lives.
because I named 3 and then you
Yeah,
named Nick
well, I
Sanchez.
forgot about it. But yeah, those three people, just like back in the day when people used to say, remember when Tap Out used to sell shirts out of their trunk?
Right.
Next to them was us passing out CDs of our show, telling people,
Or those
listen to us
glossies.
on the way home. Yeah, and the glossies.
Or
And
the
shirts.
glossies. We set up a canopy outside the LA Coliseum when Brock Lesnar made his MMA debut. And Frank Trigg was there for a little while with us. And then, of course, afterwards we ran inside to watch. I know Jake Shields was on the card that day. Jay-Z Cavalcante was on the card. Johnny Morton was on the card. Kazushi Sakuraba was on the card.
Royce Gracie.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Should have named him at the same time.
Or you could have just said Gracie. I think that covers.
Gracie, yeah.
Just Gracie, you know. Who else? There was more, George.
Well, yeah, we could pull up the card. Nam Pham was on the card.
And Bam was on the card.
Mhm.
I feel like we're missing one more big player.
Mm.
What was the?
Well, the guy that knocked out Johnny Morton was Bernard Akna or some Ugandan who.
The Korean guy. All right, hold on.
Let's look it up.
Yeah, this was K1. What was it called?
Let's just go Brock Lesnar, and then from there we'll find the rest of the card.
Yeah, let's do that.
Brock Lesnar. That didn't pop up. All right, here we go.
You know,
You got it?
Royce was a lot more fun before he lost his voice, right?
Yeah. Royce, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Good. This is a surprise visit. I wasn't counting on seeing you.
You didn't even know until you walked in, right?
Mm.
It was kind of a drop in. I only hit up Goes about 2 days ago, I believe.
Do you remember when we used to have the fight parties at the house in Santa Ana?
Those were the best.
Yeah, everybody would come over, and Round Table Pizza was in the house.
Round
right?
Table Pizza.
Yeah.
We'd have beers and waters for everyone to sober up and get home safe. I emphasize that because that was Juan Lee Tran. He would bring the cases of waters.
H2O.
Yeah, everybody had an assignment. Some people would bring the chips and the dips and whatever. But Juan Lee was here about 2 months ago, if you'll recall. I think we put him on, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
And we were so proud of him because back in the day, I think he had just started training,
Oh wow.
right?
When
Or not yet.
we left the house
Yeah.
in Santa Ana,
Yeah.
actually when I left it,
Yeah.
he was just starting.
And now he's a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I know.
Juan Lee. That's awesome, isn't
Came a
it?
long way.
Yeah.
What have you done, Royce? Looks like you just have a brown shirt on.
I do just have a brown shirt to match my face.
All right, get this, guys.
Here's
Melvin
the
Manhoff was on that card.
card. Okay.
Yoon Dong-sik was on that card. Hideo Takoro was on that card versus Brad Pickett. Ruben Villarreal was on that card as well.
Mm-hmm. Ruben Villarreal was, they called him War Chief, right?
No, Warpath. I think.
Warpath. And War Chief was from the Warriors.
No, it was Cochise.
No, but they said you ain't War Chief when they're arguing over
Oh,
who's like
yeah,
after
yeah.
Cleon, I think, or something like that. He's the gentleman. Pop quiz. Well, that's a tough one. Ruben Villarreal liked to fill in late notice, but Boss Ruden's last fight was against Ruben Villarreal, and that was about 6 fights removed from his fighting career when he was a UFC heavyweight champion.
Do you know
He finished
how,
on 22 or 23 straight wins.
how
Boss
else
Ruden.
that ties into everything?
Ruben Villarreal. Did he have
'Cause
anything to do
he
with
was-
Ryan Bennett's?
Yeah. He wasn't the original guy. The original guy was going to be Wes Sims to fill in that spot.
Against
Wes-
Boss?
I think so. What happened was Wes declined that because he already had the Ryan Bennett show. He had already booked that, I believe.
Right.
And I want to say it was for like $1 because you have to pay something.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say they offered him like 30 or 15 grand or something like that to fight
Yeah,
Boss.
30 or
And
40.
he declined to do the Ryan Bennett Memorial Show. I believe that is the way it went down. Correct
Mhm.
me if I'm wrong, but I thought that's how it went down. That's what made it so.
I
cool
sure
that
wouldn't
Wes
want to
fought
fight
that way.
Boss, right? But those fighters are fearless, and he did do that, and it all benefited. It was a WEC card, right?
It's a WEC card, and the best part about that fight, and I still have that video on my phone today, is Ryan used to always talk about how cool it would be if somebody actually just came out and drop kicked someone. And the first thing Wes did was ran across the cage and drop kicked the guy. That was so awesome.
You have it?
I think I have it, yeah.
Can you send it to me, please?
You got it, dude.
Let's see here. Brad Pickett was on the card. Goes mentioned that. Melvin Manhoff. Mighty Mo. Saliga is his real name, so that might throw you off. Bernard Aka was the guy that viciously KO'd Johnny Morton, who played for wide receiver for the USC Trojans, and he played some professional ball too. So anyway, we're really going into the vault here.
I like going.
It's great to see you, man. And you're here for a family reunion, you said?
We're just we have a couple local family members, so we called everybody up and said if you can make it over, great. If not, then that's why we got Facebook.
You still keeping in touch with mixed martial arts?
A little bit, not as much as I used to.
Name all the champions.
All the champions we got. Well, I mean, does Conor McGregor even count still?
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't vacated the title, so
Right.
yeah. Him,
We'll start with flyweight. We'll go in order.
flyweight, DJ.
Bantamweight.
That's, don't tell me, Cody Garbrandt.
Mm-hmm.
And are we going light? No, featherweight.
Featherweight.
Featherweight is now the Hawaiian. Max
That would have been
Holloway.
accepted by Junkie Nation, by the way, is the answer. But he did say Max Holloway.
Yeah, Max Holloway. Lightweight.
You could have said the Hawaiian, the male, the human being, and Junkie Nation would say, yeah, give him his belt. Give him his belt. All right, Max Holloway, what's the next one?
Wow, lightweight. That's Conor McGregor. He's got lightweight and.
Hey,
but he's got
just say lightweight because otherwise the Russian judge over here will cut your nuts off.
And I need those.
Don't mention
no,
anything
you're done,
he's ever
aren't you?
done in the past.
Okay.
You're done producing babies, aren't you?
Did I tell you guys that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a story for another show.
What show do you plan on going on if you want to share it?
I mean, does Junkie
You
Nation
basically
really
just got
wanna
the
hear?
snip, right? Is
I
what it
did,
boils
yeah.
down.
Look
Okay.
for
You
Maury
didn't get
Povich
castrated
afterwards,
or
or what?
nothing.
No. The story behind it. Just because, like, she was done and she was convinced that I had talked her out of getting her tubes tied after we had our son, and which wasn't the case. It was just how she interpreted it. So she said, "Well, you better get snipped so we don't have any accidents." I'm like, "All right." Then a year later, we were separated.
Oh, man.
So she effectively ended my line prematurely, but
I thought,
yeah.
isn't it reversible?
I believe so. But who wants to do that?
Back in the
I could
scrotum?
have just not have got it done.
Yeah.
Still making babies.
Plus, you don't have the nuts to do it, right?
Now I just make face babies.
All right, you're not getting out of this test. Connor is the lightweight champ. Who's next?
Welterweight that's the analyst.
To start.
And it's even
It's
worse.
not
if
Dan Tom, though.
It's
Just so
even
that
worse
we're
to say the
clear.
black analyst. I know his. Because he was also on Strikeforce. I'm blanking on his name. I know his face.
We'll come
Tyron
back-
Woodley.
Yeah.
Middleweight is.
Wow, this was a hardcore fan that went to every UFC event that we had at the house.
And then I became a dad.
And he's blanking, yeah.
And then I became a dad. And
Do you
really
plan on coming back full circle, or was that just the end of your MMA fandom?
It's not that it was the end. It's just that I'm not able to keep up with it as much. Partially because since I'm on the East Coast, the events start at 7 generally, so which means it starts at 10 out there. If I have my kids, I'm not watching it, and even if I don't have my
They're
kids,
up that late?
No. I'm saying if I have my kids, I gotta put them to sleep, and I don't have TV service, which means I would have to pay the full
No, I think
pay-per-view
that- I
price.
got you, okay.
And then
Should have started there.
So I mean, even if I don't have them, it's just 10 o'clock. I'm tired, man. Too much working, too much stress.
Well, if I had my kids, and then there's I don't have electricity in my house. So.
Light heavyweight champ.
Light heavyweight champ.
We might as well finish.
Well, no, because I skipped middleweight. That's Michael Bisping.
Right.
Light heavyweight. I don't know. That one's a lot of the belts change hands. Light heavyweight. I'm blanking on that one.
All right, heavyweight.
Hint. Maybe I can guess it from there. Or are you
The
go
analyst,
straight?
black.
Hey.
I guess I'm gonna have to skip that one. Heavyweight is Stipe Miocic.
And then there's 2 female champions. Oh, actually, there's 3. I don't think you're going to get one of them, but strawweight.
Joanna champion. Amanda
Jędrzejczyk
Leon?
on a technicality,
Yeah.
yeah. Amanda Nunes. Well, that's
Amanda
her name.
Nunes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Jermaine Durandamy.
Oh wow, that's
Oh,
impressive. I thought that's the one you wouldn't get.
No, I didn't see that fight, but I remember the hoopla and how she's refusing to fight Cyborg, so everybody's kind of lost a little bit of respect for her.
A little bit, yeah.
So really, he only missed the light heavyweight champion.
Yeah, that's Daniel Cormier.
Ah, man, that's I
So
know
we
that.
say there's
he missed
non-fans,
one, right?
casual fans, hardcore fans, and junkie fans. He's definitely not a junkie. Is he between a hardcore and a casual? I think a hardcore would know them all.
One, I'd say. You think so?
I think a hardcore knows them all.
I think a hardcore goes, oh, yeah, I forgot last month this happened. Granted, that's not a Daniel Cormier situation. But
Yeah.
I would give him a hardcore just for knowing.
Really? But he's
that's a
on
lot.
TV with Fox. He's been calling the fights as the third man in the booth.
It doesn't really matter who it is. I think just the fact that he missed one.
I would
make
say
him
I would say something above a casual, but before hardcore. I got to sneeze.
I'll demote myself. I mean, I
Not on my coffee.
Sorry.
All right.
I put the shield
Dude,
here.
he did that to me one time with Chipotle. I was so fucking furious.
Did I? I didn't sneeze on your Chipotle.
Yeah,
did
you
I?
did. Ask Jules. Remember, I had to go back.
Your brothers, you could do that.
What?
Doesn't, dude.
Wait.
If I sneezed on my own Chipotle, I wouldn't eat it.
When was this?
He didn't bust on it.
About a year and a half ago.
Were we sitting across from each other?
That's not an accident.
That's a different show.
So we were sitting across from each
It's
other
just
at a
one of those that caught
Chipotle,
you.
or
No, at the house. It was just one that
That's
caught
a
you
long
by surprise,
distance.
and
The
you
table's
went,
somewhat
"Ah,
big."
like that, and then you got my Chipotle.
wow.
That one stung. Stung
I
enough
think
that I still
I
remember.
just scraped the couple top chickens or whatever's on the top, and then just eat the rest.
It's the thought.
Everything in my nose was on your food. You would just
Well,
kinda
not everything in
scrape
the
it.
nose comes out goes. Like a few little sprays, but not like.
It was just saliva, is what he's getting at.
Would you have eaten it?
Probably. I mean, I guess it depends on how hungry I was. I mean, if it was a stranger, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That would be the determining factor. But if it's my brother, like, yeah, you.
Hey, we
jerk.
share blood, but all the other shit that goes into this guy, that ain't me, all right? Like, that's stuff he's getting from other places.
Isn't it technically? I'm sure you and I have drank out of the same glass.
Yeah.
Isn't that almost the same? Maybe not, right?
But it's your nose, you know?
I feel like they're kind of connected. Like, I don't know.
Did you ever share a glass with Grimace?
The shake guy?
Goes remembers.
Remember Grimace? That story?
Oh, that
Anti-Grimace.
lady that came out of the house?
Yeah.
Tia Grimace.
That's when I spit all over my spaghetti. I had shit out of my nose, my mouth. You wouldn't give up.
How do you know that?
Dude, I
You told it on
remember the
air.
stories, man.
Oh, really?
I was there when I was there at old studio, dining room studios, when we were talking to Chuck Zito, when he was telling the story about how he knocked out
Hey, Chuck
JCVD,
Yeah.
he was telling stories about knocking out everybody, and it was all because they disrespected
AJ
him.
Benza. He knocked out AJ Benza, who's like he's like that Hollywood reporter type, except almost like what Robin Leach does here in Vegas. Or maybe a Mario Lopez in L.A., but he was kind of like the New York guy. Knocked
Mickey
him
Rourke.
out. Mickey Rourke and
Jean-Claude
Jean-Claude Van Damme. There may have been one other one.
The moral of the story
he
is
told
just
some great street fight stories.
don't pay him no mind because he will knock you the F out.
Hey, can you tell the Grimace story? I mean, it's real short.
I don't remember it. Very.
Oh, I can tell it.
Go ahead, yeah.
We were all sitting down at kind of like a lunch/dinner. It was my mom's friends, George, my dad, and my mom had made spaghetti, and George got up to get a drink. And one of my mom's friends was a little on the large side, but she just happened to be wearing an all-purple jumpsuit. So George looks across the table and says, "Anybody else want anything?" Goes, and I go, "No, I'm good." You know, "Mom, no." And then he looks at this lady and he goes, "Grimace, you want anything?" And she couldn't speak English, so she didn't really know, you know. So he just goes, "Grimace, how about you?" And I had just taken a drink of something. I spit it out everywhere. I couldn't stop laughing. I couldn't believe the balls on this guy to call this lady Grimace. And
She got the
had
gist
no
that she was
idea.
just disrespected.
No.
because of
She had no idea what had happened.
I thought you had one of you had said like, yeah, she cracked. She was like, these mother.
No, I mean maybe I don't think she had any idea what had just happened. I think
Well,
just
she
thought-
probably didn't know the Grimace line.
Right.
Yeah.
She
So
didn't
the
know.
only thing she could be thinking is, this young fella has been laughing a lot since that older fella said something towards me. I mean, so if she kind of put that together, then maybe, but maybe I could have said something along the lines
It
of.
just all hit me at once because like Grimace doesn't have a bone in his body. He's just just
purple.
He's
Purple
just-
pear.
Yeah, and so it was so perfect. I was looking right at her when he said it. He just goes Grimace and everywhere.
What did Mom say about spitting out the?
She thought I was kind of the one that took the heat that day because I was the one being disrespectful, spitting my food out, and being stupid. Mom didn't understand what Grimace was. She didn't understand.
No,
you
but
were
what did she
bagging.
say about you spitting like? Our mom.
She kind of like yelled at me like, "Brian, what are you
She's
doing?"
on the
You know?
conservative side.
A
People
little
here.
bit, yeah. She would not like that. Yeah.
And then when I get on the roll, I can't stop laughing. So then the rest of the meal, I just kept having to turn my head and keep laughing. And, it was
Do you
pretty rude when
recall?
I think about it.
Do you recall if he kept a straight face the whole time? Because then that would you would definitely
no,
get the
he
heat
was
on that one.
gangster about the whole thing. He just goes Grimace like that. You actually probably would have thought her name was Grimace if you didn't know.
That's a memorable story. That's a story when you hear it, you can't forget it.
I don't know. My thing was goofing back, people back in the day. Where if
Wait,
you
that
knew a
changed?
language, if you knew a language and he knew a language, then I'd say, remember the Karate Kid exchange when they're going on the mat and the guy goes, only one person at a time or something. He goes, well, he's my translator, or she's my translator, and he doesn't speak English. And so on the fly, he says, you remind him of an uncle. And then the other one says, whatever, and, thank you. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to like to do that when there was people of different languages, except I would change it so that both people would look at each other like,
That's the
that's
best
a bizarre
feeling in the world.
response. You know?
One of the benefits of being bilingual.
Yeah.
We think it's funny when other people think we're weird. A lot of people try and avoid that situation. We think it's funny. We like to see other people go, did you just, what happened with her? That's funny to us.
You guys should have a show.
Maybe.
All right, yeah, okay, I'll clue you in on something. I guess we've never really seen this side of it, but a lot of the things me and my buddies got off on was sarcasm, but to like a 10th degree. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there going, oh, man, we're all sarcastic in our groups. No, man, we were like nonstop sarcastic. And these layers of sarcasm are so deep that they're hysterical to us, but they wouldn't be hysterical to most people.
Is it because it's years of inside jokes?
Well, that and yeah, I guess that's what it is, But it's kind of like almost like a sarcasm to the sarcasm to the sarcasm type thing, But I don't know if you guys have ever seen me. You may catch Sammy the Squid do it too, but where we'll say something, and the other person busts our chops for saying what we said, and then we'll all of a sudden turn into like a robot with this dumb face, and that's our way of saying, hey, look, we could have just sat there and been like a normal human being and acted in a certain way, but we're trying to be funny and lively and joke around. You see what I'm saying?
I think groups of people who've been around each other for a long time tend to have that. Because do you guys remember the 10?
We've done it on camera too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when you have like
he's got a good one.
Elvis and
Squid,
yeah.
But I mean, yeah, if people
and we do it in front of our girlfriends and wives, and I say that not as if with people that have wives with a girlfriend on the side. What I mean is, one of us, me, has a girlfriend, one of us has a wife. But we do it, and we don't even get caught by them.
Right.
And again, I know a lot of you at home probably do that as well. I'm not saying you're less cool or anything, but we have literally 30, 40 years of this.
Sure.
No, closer to 30 since high school, I guess, is where we really were super, super sarcastic, where we make these faces. I can just look at Goes and go like this, and that is actually probably a sentence I just told him, and then he'll look at me and go, as if to say, that almost means like, hey, bitch, what did you want me to do? And then he does the opposite of what I'm busting his balls for. And so we're sitting here laughing, like Mork and Mindy, I guess, just this type of communication.
And everybody else isn't the wiser.
Right. And sometimes we get caught making these dumb faces. And that's kind of funny, too, when we do get busted. But it's just a whole other layer of humor. And it's it's ridiculous because I have one buddy that already has kids in high school and one in college. And they're watching us, and they want to laugh, and they kind of get it, but they don't get it. But that's the age we started it at.
Right.
And that's the bizarre thing is we're acting like them.
No, but I mean, you just because, like you said, it's rare to have even 10-year friendships. But the fact that you have friendships that span back through high school or even before then, that's something special.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So here we are on, what is today? Wednesday? Tonight, Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
You see how I said that, folks? I will keep it real. I look forward to it. Why? Because of Cody and TJ. I like their drama. There's the subplot of Dwayne versus, I guess, the rest of Team Alpha Male. Faber's kind of just been chilling, even though he may be the heart and soul of the problems. It was him and Dwayne, him and TJ, and then that morphed into other stuff. He's kind of been chill, hanging back. But, Justin and Dwayne got into it. Castillo's chirped here and there. So I love that stuff, and I can't wait to see. It's a redemption season, so I'm familiar with these fighters. They already have a story to them, so I want to see who continues. We've been MMA media members for 10 years, but have we ever gotten the tip? I think there was some stuff.
Won?
Well, the whole show, yeah.
Yeah.
You've gotten that tip?
Yeah.
Like for sure that it was these, or just I heard?
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I think we've gotten it like 3 times. And then I finally said, hey, I actually like letting this play out, and then they put me out of that loop.
Right. So I've gotten I've gotten one of those where I heard, and I guess it was credible, but I probably forgot by the time we got to it. I really don't like knowing what happened and just seeing it. The only thing we've ever been tipped on is who's on the season, just because in the past they had us go in there and interview the cast, or if we got a trailer so that we could do the recap. And at times we would have every week's winner on the show, so we needed a little bit of an advance. But up until then, we didn't know, and the filming had been done months prior to that. So anyway, we don't know anything going forward. It's a redemption season. I'm into it, so I'm excited. I wonder if there's others that are as excited as I am.
It seems like people have dropped off, and I don't really get that because I thought it's been a pretty good season.
Me neither. What more do you want? You
We've
get a
been
fight at
asking
the
for a
end.
comeback for a
You
while.
got coaches that are chirping on each other, and they keep going on social media. And why I'm bringing it up too is, did you see the video of Cody Garbrandt wrestling with Danny Castillo? They're basically, it's horseplay. It looked like they went out, maybe had some drinks, and then all of a sudden there's some horseplay going around. But this is a guy that pulled himself out of a fight because of a bad back. He went all the way to Germany to get the stem cell treatment. I'm talking about Cody Garbrandt, the champ. And so they're not fighting at UFC 213. They're supposed to, and they're not. And TJ brought that to light in an interview he did. He's like, well, what's going on here? That looks like, it's, horseplay is different from competing at a high level, defending your belt, against another great fighter. But still, it also didn't look like someone who was injured, because they were like pretzeling each other and, ground and pound and joking. And so, I wonder if Cody might get a call from the UFC. Like,
I think he probably regrets it.
Yeah, like, what are you doing, especially just because we're promoting you all season. It really would have been nice to have you fight.
Mm-hmm.
And no one's questioning Cody's balls, because he looks like he'll fight anyone, dude. I mean, that dude looks like a straight-up G. But maybe that's a sign that it's getting better. How about that? And hopefully they'll fight soon, because the season's been fun. It's been great. I've loved it. And, of course, Jason B., as long as he's in for tomorrow, I'd love to hear his recap, too.
Yeah, he said he's in for the rest of the season. So, and I think it's right for us to finish that out.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just, put the nail in the coffin. Just enough of Jason, right?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Lose the number. Let's see here. Speaking of UFC 213, sometimes this is big news for some, and that's mostly those that do fantasy fighting and do some heavy gambling. They want to know who the ref is for these big fights that are coming up. Certain refs have certain styles, and some have that leash where they let the fighters go out, play a little longer than they should. Some stop it sooner. Some favor the ground game. Well, they'll let the fighters fight on the ground before they stand them up. So
I think that's where it plays out the most, I think.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain refs that just with the grappling aspect of it, Big John's a lot more savvy, I think. And then back in the day, Steve Mazzagatti would never stand him up.
Never.
So I would want to know that going into
I
a
would
fight.
want to be a wrestler. If I was a wrestler, I'd want Steve Mazzagatti. If I knew my game was to control, like GSP or Jim Miller or whoever, somebody that'd like to get the takedown and advance position, ground and pound or whatever, Tito Ortiz, I would want that guy. And then there's others that stand you up quick. If I'm a brawler, I probably want Yamasaki. I think he tends to let the fights go the longest. So, anyway, for Herb Dean is basically going to be the third man in the cage when Amanda Nunes defends against Valentina Shevchenko. They've even named the judges for this event, and that's Derek Cleary, Chris Lee, and Glenn Trowbridge.
Good ones.
Mm-hmm. They'll each receive $1,600. $1,900 goes to Herb Dean. If you've ever wondered how much the ref makes or the judges, there you have it. That's one night's work. They'll have other fights to judge and for Herb the ref as well. So that's a night's work. That is 2 years late. If that's the first anyone's ever heard of it, that's 2 years late. And if you don't listen to the MMA Junkie Radio Show, then there you have it. Big John McCarthy revealed that, remember?
I do.
Yeah, he revealed it about 18 months ago, 2 years ago on our show.
I was curious, too.
We were just jumping around. We got this little style of asking questions. Sometimes I'm like, I'm going to be nosy. Here you go. And then there's other times where we float around. I think he caught on. He goes, look, this is what I make. And he laid it all out there. And I was like, wow. Like, think about that. I mean, for one, I think they're underpaid. Because how many other people in the world can call the world title fight and know the rules and, navigate through, cup shots and eye pokes and whatever. A lot of money's at stake here, and a lot of history's at stake here. So there's not many of them, and I feel like collectively the best 10 in the world could go, we don't want to do it for a while until we get a little bit more pay, you know. But they don't. They love the game. They want to see the game grow. They realize their place in history. But regardless, we wondered, and that's a great night's pay. Now, that's just in Nevada. They pay a little bit more. When he goes to California or other states, I think it's a little bit less. But pretty cool to know that, there's some solid compensation at least that's going up. In the past, we'd hear 100, 300. We got to 500, and now we're getting close to 2,000. So that's MMA for you.
Especially if you don't have to leave the state for it. You just go, you do your thing. I think that's a good amount for someone to make. But you're right. Collectively, for some reason,
Goddard,
10 of those guys said,
Yamasaki,
we're not going to stand for this anymore.
Dean.
That would hurt a lot.
Exactly. I think they have probably pretty good conditions to work, but still they have a skill that not a lot of people do, and
the best of the best, like Big John, can only be so many places because he's got other obligations as well.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say they made 1,900 for let's just say he worked all 52. Could he be doing something else where he's making more is my thing. Is he sacrificing by giving to the sport and doing this, and could he be getting paid more? Because again, let's just say they wanted to be a firefighter or a stockbroker or something else. Well, a lot of people can do that, but not a lot of people can do this. And so I feel like they have a little bit of leverage,
And aren't most of them?
A lot of people are making not a lot of people, but there's some people in town that have made a lot of money off the sport. And so I think we all just need to wake each other up and say, hey, are you getting yours? Are you getting yours? Because collectively we're all working towards this. Some have bigger roles. I realize that. But still.
Is it generally known what the refs do? Because Mazzagatti is a firefighter, wasn't he?
He's a firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, do we know what Herb Dean
Big John used to be a police officer.
Yeah, LAPD. He was in the LA riots.
He turned into was like a tactical instructor, right?
Special tactics. Yeah. Not SWAT. That was his dad. I confused that. But special tactics.
Well, I think his dad invented SWAT or something like that, didn't he?
Something like that. He had a big role in it. Yeah. I don't know what Yamasaki owned a gym in Washington D.C. He may have owned, or still does, in Brazil. And he could have the affiliate thing going on. And now I think he has a big role in reffing out in Brazil. The building up the refs out in Brazil. Who else is there?
Some of them had other jobs.
Yeah.
Like Josh Rosenthal.
Some of them did have some side gigs, yeah. All right, so, man, time's flying here. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. We're going to take this big break here. So go open up a can of beer, or pour yourself a nice IPA or whatever it is you do, or mix yourself a drink. I don't know. Maybe it's you unpacking your lunch. Maybe it's a late breakfast. People listening from all over the world. Some people are even serving dinner right now. Heating things up in the microwave. Many ways to catch the show.
Some people are serving breakfast tomorrow.
They are. We're going to wake someone up. Ben Wynn's going to be on today's show. We're going to wake him up. He's in Australia in the middle of the night. It's the middle of the night. He might actually tell me that. We're also going to have Dan Stupp, who is the editor of MMA Junkie, but he's also the president of MMAjunkie. Did you hear about that, guys?
Yeah, that's cool.
We'll talk about the Journalists Association that's been formed. When we come back after this break, it's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93.
Tonight to share.
They are the stretch marks on the underbelly of the MMA community. But hey, stretch marks are the new tats. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
All right, we're back on a Wednesday. Happy hump day to everybody. Happy hump day to you, Royce.
Happy hump day.
You gonna be humping later?
You
The
never
couch,
know.
the pillow,
Myself,
the rhino.
Why do you have a pink cell phone case?
because I'm comfortable in my skin. I
Who are
know
you,
who I
Rich
am,
Franklin? You're wearing a brown shirt, a pink phone case.
and I'm going to be an executive of a company someday, a startup.
There you go.
So you heard about the Journalists Association?
Yeah.
They're off and running, and Dan Stupp, our editor-in-chief, is the president of that Journalists Association. And
Interim.
Yeah, I guess. Is that part revealed, though?
Yeah. So he's the interim president for now. Everybody who has a title is interim for now
okay.
until we kind of do like an election, and then they become permanent.
You said we. Are you a part of this?
He's a part of the constituency.
What do you want from me?
Well, no, I'm just wondering.
Oh, I definitely want to be involved in this. Don't you?
Yeah, I mean, so we have to go through the proper channels of applying, and then that
You can do
board,
that on the website.
the board chooses who's going to be on. If you want more information, it's www.MMAJA. So if you're a member of the media, look, I know what I say doesn't go, but hopefully your first reaction wasn't to laugh it off, because if it is, laugh it off with sarcasm, even though I'm talking about being the king of sarcasm. Because if it is, it probably just isn't going to be for you. I mean, how long are you going to sit there and laugh and, MMA media is a joke and this and that? You're part of the problem with that kind of negativity. These guys are trying to, do something so that, we can help grow the sport. And so Goes and I are free to apply just like anybody else. The boards, I'll have Dan talk about this more, but they will approve them. And on that board is Ariel Hawani, Ben Folks, Josh Gross is another person involved.
Mark
and
Randami.
Yeah. You have the names?
Chad Dundas.
Mm-hmm. So they are Ben Folks, Ramondi,
There should be all of
Gross,
them. I think there's
Hawani,
6 of them.
Stupp, yeah. And if you are interested in being a part of this and helping to grow your profile and being a responsible journalist, helping the sport grow, I encourage you to do it. But again, I know how Twitter is. I read it, Facebook, and a lot of people's first reaction is like, "Oh, this is dumb. This is bullshit." And you know what? Honestly, you're part of the problem. If you don't even take yourself serious, but yet you still want to blog about the sport because you're entertaining or you're this, that's only going to last a certain amount of time. Even Goes and I had to grow up. I'll be honest with you all. I'm looking straight into the camera. You couldn't find two bigger Muppets than us two to be where we are. And we still, I think, partake in buffoonery. But make no mistake, I mean, man, we love our jobs and we strive to get better. Buffoonery still reels us in from time to time. You'll never confuse me for Fraser Crane. I don't have that type of vocabulary, but I love the sport. I love the fighters. I love our website. And I think this is a great thing, for all media members to raise the standards of professionalism in our sport and to also be bound together. Mm-hmm. What happened to Ariel Hawani last year was very unfortunate. I know the UFC is a private company and they can choose to do what they want, but they even they, I believe, not 100% of the time embrace media the way they should, and that's because of the negativity side of it. When people are writing the truth and reporting stuff that doesn't shed you in a good light, that's not the end of the world. That's how you're going to improve. It's not all going to be peaches and cream. It's not going to all be great news because not everything you do is great either, and you know that too. But regardless, Dan will talk more about it. He'll be on in about 20 minutes or so, followed by Ben Nguyen. We're going to wake his ass up. It's going to be like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., somewhere in Australia. So, again, worldwide, wherever you are, thanks for joining us here. Let's take some calls, 866-522-2846. I'm constantly in the Facebook chat. and people really can't believe that they can chat with us. Well, they can. Remember, this show is aired live from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific time. So that's 1 to 3 Eastern. You can fill in the rest for whatever time zone you're in. But you can call in at 866-522-2846. And Danny, say hi, Danny.
Danny.
We'll put you through. He'll put you through like that. We're going to talk to Rolly. He's going to start things off. Where's Rolly from again? Somewhere in NorCal, right?
I don't know exactly.
Yeah. What's up, Rolly? How you doing?
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Good. You're from NorCal, right?
No, actually, I'm from SoCal.
SoCal. That was my next guess. What part of SoCal?
Yeah. Actually, I'm from Carson.
I was going to say that, too. Yeah, Carson. How you doing?
Next door neighbors.
All right. Hey. My guy, just my question is, I know I'm kind of a little bit late, but what do you guys think about as Mike Goldberg and the guy from Strike Force, the guy did the commentary for Strike Force, like how they signed him? What do you guys think about that? And also, my question is, do you think that Bellator and Scott Coker is paying the same amount, Mike Goldberg, the same amount as UFC paid him? And also, my last question is, now that Mike Goldberg is with Bellator, you think that he's going to bring the same atmosphere as he brought as the UFC? Because he did commentary for UFC many years, and, you know, that was cool.
Okay. Thanks for calling, Rolly. We'll answer your questions here. First of all, what do we think? What do you think, Gus? Mauro Ranallo and Mike Goldberg will both be working for Bellator going forward, not just for the big event that they have. And to clarify, it is 2 play-by-play announcers that are coming in, except calling the play-by-play will be Mike Goldberg, and in a host type of a setting is going to be Mauro Ranallo. So you won't have them on the same booth as far as I could read, and that was clarified by Josh Gross in a tweet that he put out.
When did they do that before? Was it a
Well,
Strike Force
I've
event
seen
or
Mauro
something
host
like
WrestleMania and also Showtime and then send it down to another group.
No,
I've also seen Mauro go down and do both roles, but I don't know.
I can't remember what event it was. I want to say it was a Strike Force event, but it was one where he kind of did the hosting duties. I want to see Mike Goldberg back, so it was good to see that. I kind of would have wished that Mauro Ranallo was play-by-play just because.
So do I.
I feel like his name is attached to so many great moments in combat sports. Pride. You think of fights with Fedor Emelianenko. Whose voice do you hear? Mauro Ranallo, right? You could even go into wrestling, some of the biggest events in pro wrestling. Mauro Ranallo's voice was attached to that. Floyd Mayweather, one of the greatest fighters of all time, boxers of all time. Mauro Ranallo's voice is attached to that, to the Manny Pacquiao fight. So I think just having him there kind of gives your organization a little bit of street cred.
Yeah, for sure. On both of them. Both of them are legit. And whether we talk about announcers, you know, the in-ring announcers like Bruce Buffer and Joe Martinez or whatever, look, they're all great. And we all have our favorites. But Mauro Ranallo happens to be a favorite of mine. I think he's got amazing pipes, his call to the action, his charisma. His energy is just through the roof. So I would have preferred him as play-by-play. And actually, I would have preferred him as a third man in the booth if you were going to have Goldberg as the play-by-play. But somehow I would like him to be part of the commentating. I just don't know if he'd be able to contain himself. So since more than likely that wouldn't work, then I'd rather have him and then Goldberg hosting. Yeah, that'd be my personal preference. But both of them there, hey, those are 2 consummate professionals. The other question, what was his other question?
I don't know.
He asked 3 and we only remembered 1. Do you remember? What are you here for then if you don't remember? At least help out.
Kevin Randleman has knocked out Mirko Krokop.
All right, let's see if it clicks later on. Marco from Waco. What's up, Marco?
And replaced it. Placed a little line and some fitting.
Marco from Waco. Marco from Waco.
Everything else good.
Marco from Waco.
Hey, what's up? Who are you talking to?
You got the cable man there or what?
Yeah, I got cable issues, man. So,
Who?
Hey,
Who's there?
no, that's finished. The cable guy was just signing me off, man. So I was trying not to mess it up. Hey, so the MMAja, congratulations, guys. A long time coming. It's something that the journalists in MMA actually really needed. Because the way they did ALK1 last year and then with the issues with Fox, The whole ordeal, man, it always leave a bad taste in our mouth. And if they can do that to the highest profile freaking journalists on the freaking sport, they can do it to anybody. So I am so glad that you guys are putting your brains together and your power together, because there is always straining numbers. And I want the fighters to take a look at you guys. The guys are right about the sport and take a page out of you, and they need to get together and associate. Congratulations, man. I'm all out for you guys to push this forward and make the MMA JA work out. We'll release you guys. Catch you guys tomorrow.
See you, Marco.
Well, I want to say thank you, but a lot of the legwork was done by these 6 individuals.
I only found out about this. So in 2009, I think John and Josh Gross and a few others were trying to get something together, and it's noted in the Sports Illustrated story that broke this morning. So it has been a long time coming, went away, and then things started again last year. I think it was after UFC 199, what happened with Ariel Helwani. So this has been in the pipelines for a while. And we'll talk a little bit more with Dan about that. What are going to be some of the benefits from all the journalists, being banded together? Because, see, when I was growing up, my old ass, when I heard any form of a writers association, it was only because that was followed by "and the winner is," or the number 1 ranked team is. You know what I mean? It always had to do with rankings, awards, and so I was just like, cool. Who? I didn't even care who voted for them. I just cared about the winners and all that. So I want to know these associations. How, Dan will know how they've benefited the other sports and now how they can benefit this sport, the meat and potatoes of it all. But that's all I know from growing up was that's what their involvement was.
Well, if you read everything about it, there's so much more to it. A lot of people look at it as finally a voice to stand up against the UFC, but it's not really all about that. It's about taking people that cover the sport now and making them better at what they do. How many times have people reached out to you on Facebook, Twitter, whatever, even in person? What should I do? What should I wear to an event? That sort of stuff. This is where this will all help and help you go in the right direction. Look at us, 10 years, like you said, Muppets, right? We're still learning shit.
Yeah. People used to show up,
flip-flops, shorts.
Exactly. And so I think they're going to raise that professionalism,
Beer.
how to report, how to source, and giving credit, website to website or blog to blog or newspaper to newspaper, whatever. So lots of things that they could be doing better, but banded together, they could have a lot of influence. Maybe they may actually do awards towards the end of the year. That could mean a lot because these are the people that are they're beat writers. It's almost like being a beat writer of the NFL is what being a beat writer of the UFC, and arguably that's what the sport is. Bellator making one hell of a strong push, so you definitely have to push them into that. But basically, these are the faces that we associate the sport with when we talk about, what upcoming fights mean, or the ones that just happened, what those could mean for those fighters. Those opinions matter a lot. All right. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close. We'll talk some more. 866-522-2846. Get in the queue.
She took me in and
Yeah, you. Can you please tap that rather large fellow on the shoulder and tell him it's time for more MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Goes? Thank you.
I blew it. Marco could have waited. We had a new caller from South Dakota. He hung up.
What was his name?
I think his name was Mike. Right, Danny?
Yeah, he had some questions about our guest.
Yeah, because
so he might call
Sioux
back.
Falls, right. Ben is from, well, I don't even know where Sioux Falls is. How embarrassing is that? Is that south or north? Is it south? Okay.
It's south.
All right. And so I was wondering if that was the tie-in, maybe. Because I know we used to have a Tony from North Dakota. He hasn't called in a while. One of the Dakotas. Anyway, hopefully they call back. The story that we're talking about is on SI.com. And it's media members forming the first official MMA Journalists Association. On that panel, on that board that they have is interim president Dan Stupp, who will be a guest of ours soon. He'll be joining us to talk about this. On that panel is Ariel Hawani from MMAfighting.com, Mark Ramondi from MMAfighting.com, Josh Gross from The Guardian, Chad Dundas from Bleacher Report, Ben Folks from MMAjunkie.com. That group will be the ones that determine if you can be a member of the MMAJA, and we'll talk about how you can apply for membership. If you cover the sport, this is for you, and if you want to responsibly cover the sport, this is definitely for you. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break and a sports update. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. We'll be back in a few.
Las Vegas turning day into nighttime, turning night into daytime. If you see it once, you'll never be the same.
say I'm crazy, I really don't care. That's my prerogative. They say I'm nasty, but I don't give a damn. Getting girls is how I live. Some ask me questions, why am I so real? But they don't understand me, or really don't know the deal about a brother trying hard to make it right. Not long ago, before I win this fight.
All right, here we go. It's the second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show. Apologies to our next guest. We weren't able to pull up any Carmen Electra audio, but we do have, who's that, Ghost?
Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown. There you go, Bobby Brown. I was going to say New Edition, but I wasn't sure if he had broken away by then.
Yeah, that was the album where he broke away.
That was a good one. He came out
a
strong.
lot.
Yeah. Joining us now is not only the editor-in-chief of MMAjunkie.com, but also the interim president of the MMAJA, the Mixed Martial Arts Journalists Association. It's Dan Stupp. What's up, Dan? How you doing?
Not much. How you guys doing?
Good, good. Thank you for asking. Big announcement today. The MMA JA is born.
Yeah, a long time coming. Glad we finally got it off the ground, and I've been getting some credit for it, but it really was the five other guys who had been working behind the scenes and really kind of getting it all together. You know, obviously it's a pretty big undertaking, but Ariel Helwani and Ben Folks and Chad Dundas and Mark Raimondi and Josh Gross, you know, there had been talks about putting an association together as far back as 2009. It kind of heated up again about a year ago, you know, when Ariel was dealing with the ban from the UFC. So, again, it's long overdue, but those five guys are the ones who really kind of took it upon themselves to get the ball rolling and get things in place. And obviously there have been some hiccups. The website's already crashed, but it should be back online soon. But I think this is going to be a good thing for, you know, anyone, including you guys who cover this sport for a living.
Dan, explain to us something. So about a year ago when Ariel was escorted out of the building and told he could never cover a UFC event again, how would the MMAJA have reacted to that?
I mean, that's kind of the stuff we're still figuring out and putting together. You know, I think, you know, the key thing for us initially, and we've already done that, is reaching out, you know, to the promotions and then even starting to reach out to the fighters and managers that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. But, you know, the primary thing is, you know, at least in some aspect, you know, we've kind of banded together collectively, you know, whether someone's a member or not, you know, our goal is to, you know, encourage and support kind of anyone who covers the sport for a living and assuring that, you know, we're getting or have, you know, proper working conditions and things like that. So long story short, you know, that's stuff we're working on now and getting the board together and the membership. And those are kind of the big ticket items that, you know, we'll be discussing and kind of strategizing about. But, you know, hopefully you know, we won't have too many of those situations pop up or, you know, we'll have to, you know, deal with that on a consistent basis.
Initial reaction, how's this been received by the promotions you reached out to, and how's this been received by other media members?
I think most media members, we haven't had too long of talks with the promotions yet. I think we initially reached out today when the news first came out. But I think among the writers and radio hosts and videographers and photographers, you know, 10 years ago, it was just, you know, basically writers who, you know, most of the other sports, they're called writers associations. But one of the cool things about MMA is, you know, a lot of people cover the sport in a lot of new ways, you know, whether it's radio shows and podcasts and video features and photography, and we want all those people involved. And I think, you know, since the initial announcement, we've seen a lot of encouragement. We've seen a lot of people who are excited about, you know, joining an association with kind of like-minded people and people who have similar careers. And you know, part of it will be, you know, dealing with relationships and setting guidelines and kind of informally, what I'd really like to see is, there are a lot of young writers who are just getting started in the sport, college kids, even high school kids, people just out of college, someone like John Morgan, who's, I think one of the best people covering the sport right now. For him to take up MMA, it was more of a complete career shift, it basically changed industries. And I think with the association, people who have been around a while can help some of these younger guys, whether it's informal or formally, kind of a mentorship program and things like that. So I've been really encouraged, and I think, as we get more people involved and we start having our meetings and getting our goals together, I think you're going to see a lot of really good stuff come out of it.
Dan Stupp, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. He's our editor-in-chief here at MMA Junkie, but also the interim president of the MMAJA. That's the newly formed Mixed Martial Arts Journalists Association. All right, let me turn it over to Goz. He's got a couple questions for you, and then I'll finish up. Goz, what do you have for Dan Stupp?
So, Dan, when this idea was crafted, was it a slam dunk for you? Was it something that you really had to sit down and think about? Or was it, like I said, a slam dunk, something that just you felt natural?
No, I mean, I think a lot of people, some veteran journalists I've already talked to today, they have some concerns about, how things are going to be handled, just addressing some of the situations like you brought up and stuff. So I think like a lot of those people, when the idea was first tossed around, my initial reaction is, great, we need a writers association. I think everybody will improve, or we'll all make our lives a little easier if we band together on some of the really important stuff. But I had the same concerns too. What are our goals? How are we going to deal with the organizations? Who's even going to be members or eligible for membership? And how do we make sure something like that's handled fairly? And but as we were working through the Constitution for it and kind of our guidelines, which are available on the website, assuming or once the website's back up. But as we were working through those issues, we kind of got a framework in place for how we're going to handle some of these things and how like membership and stuff like that's going to be handled. And once we started working through those issues, and, I think the reason we started with a small group of guys who are, I think fairly prominent and well-known within our industry, it was easier to kind of address those topics and get the answers when you're working with a small group. So I know a lot of people were kind of concerned. It was like, well, who are you six bozos to put this together or to speak on behalf of all of us? But it was basically just to get it off the ground so that, it was manageable and we could get our goals together. And I think we've done that, and we've already got the applications coming in for people who want to be members from, other websites and radio shows and things like that. So, again, it's a process, but I've been really encouraged. We're just, 4 or 5 hours into this thing.
Is this going to be something that's eligible for everyone around the world, or is this just statewide?
Yeah, no, I think ideally we definitely see it being a global thing. That's one of the cool things about covering MMA is that it is such a global sport. I was just talking to someone yesterday, when we started Junkie, it was, me, and then it was, you guys kind of joined us, and then John Morgan, it always seemed like a small group. And just within MMA Junkie, we now have people in Rio and Toronto and London and Dublin. It really is an international sport, so we want to get as many people covering the sport, whether they live here in North America in the United States or they live, anywhere in the world. We want them all involved.
When you think about people who cover MMA, it's pretty broad because depending on the event that you're at, you could find somebody like yourself who has a very big journalistic background from one of the best schools in the country, and you could find somebody that has something as simple as a blog or a podcast. Where is that line? Where can somebody who's maybe on the fence trying to figure out whether or not this is something for them, where can they kind of make that decision?
I would, once the website's back up, and obviously we're a little embarrassed that the website went down, but I think it's just a byproduct of so many people being interested and learning about it. I think, first thing to do is go to the website, read it over, see what the goals are, check out the Constitution. It'll give you a better idea of, whether it's the right fit for you or not. One of our first things that we'll be doing as an association is getting a membership committee together, and ideally, we'll have some folks involved in that, some veteran people who have been around the sport and can help us determine. I mean, I think the big thing is, we don't want it to be, a club or these people are on the inside and these people are on the outside. We even have options, for ideally we want people who cover the sport, full time. It's their main profession. But there'll definitely be options for people, students and interns and things like that who just want to learn and take advantage of, access to so many people in the industry and doing those types of jobs. So I think, if you're interested in MMA journalism, whether you're doing it now or not, I think there's going to be plenty of ways to get involved. So I think anyone who's interested in possibly being involved will have an opportunity in one way or another.
Dan, when I was a kid, I would watch a lot of sports. And anytime I ever heard anything associated with a Writers Association, it was either to reveal the latest rankings maybe in college football, the AP, the UPI, or it was end of the year, the Football Writers Association Player of the Year or something like that. Will you all be doing the same thing? Let's start with awards and then talk about any form of rankings, I guess.
Yeah, I think the immediate plans, obviously we have, big, I guess more pressing goals, just getting, people signed up and getting their membership taken care of and working on the relationships and stuff like that. But near-term goals, awards is definitely a part of it. One, to recognize work that other journalists are doing, other members are doing, kind of, acknowledging people who have done really good journalism over the past year. And then I think further term, longer term, one of the goals is, kind of unified rankings and MMA Hall of Fame voting and stuff like that, just like you said, kind of like the other sports, so the other sports have been around so long. When I worked in pro baseball, obviously the Baseball Writers Association's been around forever. They have a big part to do with the Baseball Hall of Fame and things like that. And it won't happen overnight with MMA, but I think long-term our goals are definitely similar to what the other major sports are doing right now.
This is cool. Congratulations. Thanks for joining us here on the show. Is there any point that you want to bring up that we may have missed, or?
No, I just, like I said, anyone who may be interested in joining or just learning more about the association, it's MMAJA.com. I know some people can access the website right now, some can't. It should be back online shortly for everybody, but check it out there, and there's ways to contact the organization. So if people have questions, you can email the association through the website or hit up any of the initial people involved in the board. We're here to help and encourage people to get involved. So hopefully we get a big group of people who are interested in it.
We'd like to check in with you in about a week just to see how the first week pops off. You know what I mean? And because I'm sure it's not just going to be today. It's a worldwide sport. Some people are sleeping, but when they wake up, they'll be slamming the website as well. And so hopefully we can check in with you in about a week just to see how things have gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Count me in.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Dan.
No problem. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
What a big moment, huh?
It is.
I hope they take like an Untouchables picture at some point.
They're scattered throughout the country, but it would be great for them at an upcoming huge event, maybe International Fight Week, to get them all there and have that sort of a moment. As I'm reading here, I have access to the Constitution before the site went down. It looks like this will be a year-to-year thing. So the fiscal year, January 1st to December 31st, I would encourage anyone to join. And I guess if it's not for you, you could bow out, but give it an effort. Let me tell you something, man. these guys, a few of them have gone to school at high levels for this. And I think that just being mentored by them, even if there's nothing else that you may gain or maybe it doesn't apply to you, I think just being mentored by them, having them as a resource, will improve your work or
Yeah,
your
definitely.
coverage of the sport.
Watch them too. Watch them and watch how they do stuff. I remember being at Inside MMA and just watching and paying attention to the way Ron Kroc, Mauro Ranallo, Kenny Rice, Boss Rudin, how they approach topics, and you learn a lot by just shutting up and just watching.
MMAJA will be up soon, and you can find out more information on how to join the Mixed Martial Arts Journalists Association. I'm sure they'll have ways where you can contact the board. A board that includes our own Dan Stupp and Ben Folks. Some big dogs in that group, huh?
Big time.
Yeah. Good
and
to
they all
see
have
Josh
like,
Gross in there.
different styles, too,
Mhm.
of how they approach things. So it's an interesting group.
I wonder how just those conversations went. I'm sure there was some conference calls there and a difference of opinion. I mean, that's different websites collaborating together.
I know the Ariel Hawani situation is probably what got the ball rolling again. But I'm curious what initially started the early talks. This is probably an incident. that
I know
probably
we
got
could
the
ask
ball.
John or Josh about that because I clearly remember those two somehow talking about it. And, boy, I may even want to say rankings was at the forefront.
2009, though?
Yeah, I'll let John talk about it more because, but I know I believe him and Josh were going to be, at least two of the initiators, maybe, if you want to call it. But that's 8 years ago. And so here they are launching today. And it'll be interesting to get on that website and read what they're all about.
Definitely.
Membership, benefits, committees, directors and officers.
I already filled out my application.
Did you really?
This morning, yeah.
Oh, wow. What's it cost to get in?
I remember what he told us here. I don't remember if
It's on the
that's what
site?
it ended up being.
Okay. Well, you didn't access the site in time before it?
I did, but I didn't get to that part.
Okay.
But it wasn't much.
You know what's funny is I used to watch 60 Minutes because Mom and Dad would watch it, and you would see a guy like Walter Cronkite, and Mike Wallace. So, of course, my life was always sports, but I think of like Bob Costas and Jim McKay, and it's funny how now someone like Perez Hilton, for example, not to shit on his hustle in any way, but think about how powerful he is as a member of covering just Hollywood. And to see him at a table with Cronkite. And it's funny because Cronkite would probably have to there might be a roll of the eyes, but eventually when you show him the numbers, he's going to have to sit at this table, you know what I mean? Just because they're powerful and influential, but two different people. I think there's a little bit of that with MMA. There's some really, really proper journalism happening, and there's others that just have taken through another angle through like social media, but yet still have a following that you have to respect the hustle, and it could be that meeting in the mind will be interesting, but it has to happen, I guess, in this day and age.
Well, the way we used to get information in the past is so different, right? If you wanted to watch 60 Minutes, you had to be sitting in front of your TV to watch it. I believe it was 9 p.m. or something that it started. Or you would set your VCR and pray that it did it, that you had your enough tape and all that. Or you just had to read about it like that. Now everything's at the tip of your fingers.
And in my case, I'd have to pray that a Super Bowl didn't get taped over by this 60 Minutes episode.
I'm the Super Bowl bandit.
I was going to say something else, too. Oh, man. See, at the cost of that dumb joke. Maybe Kendra will reset me. Let's talk to Kendra in Humboldt. What's up, Kendra? How you doing?
Doing great, gentlemen. And I have to say that I was able to get on the MMAJA.com website to see this new journalism association and the Constitution, and I think this is a fantastic addition. The reason why I wanted to call is because being in nursing for, I guess, as long as Vitor Belfort has been fighting in mixed martial arts, I know that having an association really drives the professionalism, and I feel like this validates the profession of MMA journalism as a specialty in journalism, and it's going to be a fantastic opportunity for that board or the officers, which if you look at the officers page, it's pretty much the focus of my Twitter line, and the content that is generated comes from these guys. So that was kind of cool to see. But I think these guys are going to be able to pass on a lot of knowledge to the people who are joining the MMA journalism workforce. I mean, take AMP Radio, for example. These are MMAjunkie Radio fans that decided to band together and start creating content. So they're using you guys as their mentors or the example set for them to follow. But those would be great people to join in either as an auxiliary member or maybe for those who are more active as an active member. So I think it's going to be a great chance for them to add their knowledge and their perspective, because you have people who are just getting into the industry. We have some younger folks, and I'm not going to say that Mike Bond is necessarily young, but he is a millennial generation that probably brings a different perspective and different content to the MMAjunkie website. So I'm excited to see what is produced from this organization. Goes, you said you filled out your application. What do you think you could bring to the organization right off the bat?
Well, there's a question that asks, why did you want to join? And my answer is very, very simple, very basic, but one thing that we've always stressed with the show is anything we want to do, when the show's over, we want to let people know that whatever it is we're trying to do for that day, we're trying to make the sport better. You have to make the sport better in order for it to grow and for you to grow. And if I'm going to do that, every show I feel like I learn every day from a lot of these people. And if I'm going to learn, I want to learn from the best. It's as simple as that.
Do you think of yourself as one of the best? Because I know your audience does.
No, not even close. Because I've had so many conversations with these guys, and just their thought process, the way they attack certain situations is just very different from probably the way George and I do it. Even George and I think very differently when it comes to stuff like this. But there's been so many times where Dan has just sat down and said, well, this is what I'm thinking, and this is why I'm thinking, or even John Morgan. And you sit down and almost like a baby, you go, oh yeah, like the first time you got long division or something like that. There's so many of those moments that I couldn't wear those shoes.
And we realize the risk we take when we say that. You know, you tune in, you want to feel like you're tuning into a quality show where the people know what the hell they're talking about. We do, all right? But there's a lot we also don't know. We discover that by knowing more. There's a saying that the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And so I feel like there's a lot of entertainment that comes through, A, callers like yourself, B, the guests that come in, you know, or phone in that we have, whether they're fighters, promoters, managers, whoever. So it's like we're hitting a lot of different things. But I also believe that you all are getting a show interpreted by fans like yourselves, because that's what we are. So even though we may self-deprecate, don't think that we're not trying to better ourselves, or that we don't think of ourselves as you know, having a little talent. It's really not a gimmick. It's just pure honesty. It really is. You know, I open with the show that matters. This is a trophy that's not particularly attached to MMAjunkie Radio. Okay, it's attached to the whole website. Collectively, as a team, we earned it, and it's just like when they hoist the Lombardi Trophy, right, or the Champions League Trophy. It's not just one person hoisting it. Yeah, there's the MVP of it. Kevin Durant was an MVP, but collectively as a team, they all hoist a trophy. And MMA Junkie doesn't have a headquarters per se. I guess maybe Dan Stupp's house would be it. So there's some trophies there. He allowed us to have this one. We display it proudly. But collectively as a team, you know, we're very proud of what we do, the website and what it's accomplished. But I also believe, and this is where I'll thump our chest, what we do here has a huge benefit because, you know, how often do you get to see, like, I mean, you'll hear Kevin Lee on a show. You may hear him on a show. You may see him on a show. But you may hear him on a show for 20 minutes or see him on a show for 10. But how often do you see and hear him for 2 hours? Break down his childhood or an incident. So I feel like Goes and I do have those skills of buddying up, which kind of cross the lines of journalism. Should you be doing that? Of course you shouldn't. You know, that should be a guest, and we're media members. But we've made it work. We've gotten lucky. So
I think we're honest.
This
at the end of the day.
hopefully tightens up our game right here. MMAJA Goes has already put in. I plan on putting in, and hopefully others that cover the sport do it as well. Because even if at the end of the day it's just not for you, the time you shared with a lot of these top guys, you will learn something and will make you better. If you're a vlogger, if you're a writer, you know, behind the scenes videographer, whatever, you will learn. So
that's the most important part. You have to be open to criticism, and you have to be open to learning things. No matter where you're at in your career, always be open to learning. Like even a guy like Dan Tom who comes in. Dan Tom used to listen to our show. Oh, he still does. There's times where Dan Tom's breaking something down, and I'll sit down and go, "How'd you get to that?" You know, and he'll sit down and go, "Well, look, if you watch it this way, you do this," and I'll sit there and go, "Holy shit, I didn't think about that." You have to be open to learning, not just from the guys above you, the guys below you, the guys at your same level. That's how you get better.
One recommendation I have for you guys, especially since you've recently had an intern, which shows that you guys have a level of expertise that others are seeking, is that you want to provide constructive feedback. If it's criticism, that's fine, but make it constructive. What did we do or what did we do, and what can we do to make it better? That way it always drives that development, and it does not necessarily devolve into a criticism that someone can take personally. It needs to be promoting professionalism.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, appreciate that. And Kendra, I saw that video again last night. Man, thanks again to you and Mike and everyone else involved. Man, you know, I know you guys drove around all over the state and even into Nevada. And again, I know we've thanked you before, but thank you again, and we may thank you again another 1,000 times. You collected a lot of our moments over 10 years and put that into a video. You know, Mike did an exceptional job, but I know you were right there with him. So thank you again on behalf of Goes and I.
You guys made it so worth it, and I just want to give you a quick story if I have time. We were trying to get your parents on this video. Absolutely critical. Mike flew down to Anaheim with me. We packed both kids, which is no easy feat, and made all these plans with your parents. And then you, George, decide to show up in Orange County to watch a football game, and your parents were so stressed because they wanted to be on this video, but they can't turn away their oldest son, and you have a tendency of coming home, crashing, staying super late, and then driving in the night. So I got blow by blow, hour by hour. He's still here. He's asleep. He woke up. He's going to leave. So you almost threw a kink into that. It was so funny.
And you were almost a spot blower because there was other things I was doing in the OC. Man, Big Ralph took me to Fritz's and never mind. All right. No, thank you so much. Sorry I made it tough on you guys, but thank you again, Kendra. That was
all worth
great stuff.
We love you guys. Take care.
Love you too. Bye-bye. All right, we're going to take a break here. When we come back, we'll talk to Ben Nguyen if he wakes up. And if not, we'll talk to Hal from Chicago. One way or another, we're going to get to both.
It's a win-win situation.
866-522-2846. MMAJA.com is up. Check it out during the break.
They can drink Mentos-flavored Diet Coke without their stomachs giving a single fuck. They are Gorgeous George and Goes. And this is MMA Junkie Radio.
With a third of the fantasy baseball season in the books, that means there's 400 games left, SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you evaluate your team and make a push for your league title. Our experts can help you make trades and waiver wire signings to improve your roster and climb your way to the league standings. If you play fantasy baseball, you need to listen to SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. We know how to win on Sirius 210, XM87, and on the SiriusXM app. All right, speaking of baseball, strike one. Swing and a miss. We lobbed a call to Oceana where Ben Wynn stay. He didn't answer. In fact, Danny said it was a bit bizarre. It's like we were on his call waiting.
Pay no mind list?
No. We were on his call waiting. So he's on a call, and somehow his phone tells you he's on a call and that you should try back. So it wasn't a busy signal, and it wasn't anything else, that leads us to think we called the wrong number. So we'll keep trying. UFC flyweight coming off a big win at UFC Fight Night 110.
I think it's the biggest win of his career, right?
Yeah, Tim Elliott, man.
It's going to put him in a good spot.
It was an upset win according to the odds, the rankings. So he's really, really in a good spot. Let's talk to, actually, we got to do Danny's segment. He has taken over MMA History Today.
Really
Follow our
quick,
good friends at MMA History Today.
Yeah.
Go ahead, guys.
Well, I was going to say, if Danny's trying to get Ben, then maybe we should do Hal while he tries to get Ben.
We can do it in either order. I haven't
okay.
tried to call him back again.
Then you're on the right track.
All right, so Danny, take it away from here.
All right, so June 14th, 2008. So 9 years ago? 9 years ago. KJ Noons makes
Beat
his
Nick
first
Diaz?
No.
Okay.
Makes his first defense of his Elite XC lightweight title when he knocks out Eve Edwards.
Oh, wow.
After the fight, here's where Nick Diaz comes in. After the fight, Nick Diaz enters the cage and challenges Noons to a rematch.
Which Noons? KJ or his dad? Because I think they got into it a few times.
Really?
Yeah.
The first fight between Noons and Diaz ended when the doctor called the fight because of a cut above Diaz's eye.
Yeah.
Nick Diaz grabs the microphone. I told Goes beforehand I was really excited because I got to quote Nick Diaz in this. Nick Diaz grabbed the microphone from Bill Goldberg, looked at Noons, and said the legendary line, "Don't be scared, homie."
I believe that was the cut that led to him having to shave down the eyebrows, right?
Yeah, I think it's either bones on his cheek or above the eyes.
I think it's above.
Scar tissue. He had a lot
too.
of scar tissue, and they would bleed. Yeah, I think Marcus Davis had it as well. And so there's a correction so that you don't bleed as easily, and so they had to shave down the bones around his eyes. But, those were the days, man. You didn't know what was going to happen pre- and post-fight. KJ Noons' dad got into it once with Nick and Nate, and the fearsome foursome of Melendez and Shields. They were always somewhere not too far behind. But yeah, good stuff. Anything else, Danny?
It just ends with a brawl with Noons' side, and Diaz brothers broke out afterwards. So nothing really.
Yep. All right. Thank you to our friends at twitter.com/MMA History Today or at MMA History Today. Good stuff there. Let's talk to Hal in Chicago, and then we'll see if Danny can connect with Ben Wynn. What's up, Hal? How you doing?
Great. Thank you. This day in MMA Junkie Nation history, 1 year ago today, Rick Budo went on a, rest in peace, Rick, went on a drunken rant online, got into it with John Rico. They went back and forth. Johnny Rico delivered a crushing blow by saying, "Your posts reek of beer and sadness." To which Rick Budo replied, had no choice but to physically threaten him to come down to New York so he can use his karate to whip his ass. And he became the 8th junkie to physically threaten John Rico online.
So this past weekend, I got into it with John Rico. I'm telling you, you got to eat your you got to eat your Wheaties. You got to crack them knuckles, get a hand massage, because he fires right back. And finally, I found the Achilles heel, right? all these junkies, Lackey, Lowry, I had to slap them around. A lot of them from NorCal, one from SoCal. And throw Muna in there. So I found the Achilles heel. So then I started telling him, look at you, man. I mean, like, you're firing right back. Like, isn't there a BJJ class coming up or a steak to eat? I don't know. And I pointed that out, right? I think it was successive. And I got him to back away and not fire back a response until 57 minutes had gone by. And I was just sitting there wondering, I wonder what he's doing. You know, he's pacing back and forth. It was like his skin was crawling. He wanted to shoot the comeback, but I got him to shut the fuck up because he wouldn't. Playfully, obviously, he's my boy. But we're going back and forth. But I'm like, dude, there's got to, like, I don't know. Anyway, so I found the Achilles heel, and I sat there and I just kind of like watched, checked it, and he wouldn't say anything because I knew that I had kind of lulled him into that. But when he came back, it was 57, 58, and 59. 1, 2, 3. It's like he waited for the hour to expire. He didn't even wait for like 60 minutes to go by. And then boom, 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 boom. But it was all in fun. We had a good time. But, yeah, I mean, a few of these guys, Lackey, oh, dude, I think the phone is like this. Like it's attached.
To his hand?
He's got a rubber band around the phone and the hand, and they literally just walk around like that. They do everything like that. So that way they don't miss the vibrate or the ring or whatever, and then they can just go, you know, go back, and it's just always with them. It's just the phone's like this, no matter what you're doing.
This is in a group or personal?
Probably can eat the fork. Probably can eat with it, with the phone attached to the wrist and the hand. Anyway, stop it.
There we go.
Hal, finish up.
It would be cool to have a MMA Junkie Nation association where we could accredit. I mean, it's kind of to the point where we're so big. I think we're almost at that point, and we could have, you know, you could be accredited. You know, we have the Hall of Famers be on the board, and then you'd have to go through a series, kind of like a belt test, like you gave Danny. You know, you got to answer some trivia. You know, what's fuck you fish. You know, what things do you never say that goes hates. You know, don't ever say it is what it is. Things like that. You know. And you would have to go through a lot of roasting, because one of the things with junkies, you got to have thick skin. Like right now, Johnny, you know, you got to be able to have people bust your balls. But nobody's more happy about that MMA Journalism Association than Joe from H-Town and Russ. Believe that. You know what I mean? Anyway, you guys got Ben yet on the phone?
Yes, we do.
All right. Okay. I'll say my point for tomorrow. Carry on, gentlemen.
See you,
Talk to you later.
You didn't even get to the point.
No, I guess not. We're just bullshitting the whole time. All right, he's awake somewhere in Oceania. Oceania, for those that don't know, is a combination of New Zealand and Australia. Kind of giving New Zealand some love because Australia itself is a continent, a country, and it's mostly all in Australia that goes down there. No offense, Lucas and Ben and some of the others that are in New Zealand. The other Ben, not Ben Nguyen. Ben Nguyen's on hold. He's a UFC flyweight. He's coming off a big win over Tim Elliott at UFC Fight Night 110. What's up, Ben? How you been?
Hey guys, I'm doing good, man. Life is good. I'm having bacon and eggs, so life is good.
All right. I was just gonna ask you. I know it's the middle of the night, and I wasn't too sure if we were closer to waking you up or if you had just gone to bed.
No, it's 4:45 in the morning right now, but yeah, man, it's a good time to be alive, I guess.
When we told your PR guy that we wanted to call you at 4:45, did you cuss us out basically, or were you receptive to it?
Yeah, I did first, and I was like, you know, I'm not training this whole week anyway, so it's okay. I'll just go to sleep like right afterwards.
Did you make the bacon and eggs? Sorry, did you make the bacon and eggs, or does someone make it for you?
Yeah, I'm making it. I'm making it right now.
Okay. Are you a culinary dude? Like, does it end there, or can you cook? Can you get down to the kitchen?
Man. I like to dabble a little bit. So yeah, I've got a kitchen and stuff. So I cook and do a lot of stuff. But bacon eggs. Everyone's got to know how to make bacon eggs. You don't,
sure.
Man.
Extra crispy, right? The bacon.
Yeah, man. What I do is the trick is to use water. So you put a little bit of water, just enough to cover the bacon.
Really?
You could get medium heat. So what the water does, it just helps even out the cookingness. Because sometimes, if you cook it just straight, you end up overcooking. Like, I think the fatty bits get like really like burned out, and the water just helps even that out a little bit, and you get like nice crispy. You end up with nice crispy bacon.
Right now, Ben Nguyen has a lot of street cred, right? Just defeated Tim Elliott,
Yeah.
he's a UFC fighter, but now we got to take that street cred to another level.
Sure.
Ben, please don't tell me this is like turkey bacon or tofu bacon, right?
No.
Yeah, he's the man.
There you
Straight
go.
up.
I like this
A
guy.
pig got slaughtered
Straight
for
up.
Ben's
Crispy
bacon. All right, Ben, let's make up for lost time, because when Brian Stan asked you what you wanted next, you didn't know. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like that response. I think it's too generic. And I realize that you were just in there and you were in a fight, so I tend to give them, I give you guys a little bit of slack. Who knows what the hell one's thinking when you play high-speed human chess against someone else that's as good as Tim Elliott. Congrats on the win. It was a solid win. But, seriously, I really wanted to know who you want next. So now you've had a few days. Have you thought about it a little bit? What's next for you? I want to get fired up about you. I want to connect dots. I want to know that that's the guy that just beat Tim Elliott, and now he wants this. And after that, he wants that. That's how fans connect with the athletes, and that's how the athletes become more popular and make more money. So what do you think, man? What do you think after this win that you want to do next with your career?
Man, well, I've been doing some reading online, and a lot of people have been speculating and talking, and people were saying, Ben defeated Tim Elliott, the guy that went the distance with champ, and gave him a pretty tough time. So maybe Ben should have the next shot, especially with all this stupid drama going on with TJ coming down to flyweight, and Dana want to threaten to shut down the flyweight division. Maybe they should just have me jump in. I've got the momentum, I've got the style. I've just beat like one of the top guys, so maybe I'm not too far off.
There you go. Well, you've won 4 out of 5 in the UFC, and you're on a 2-fight win streak. So you're saying, hey, give me Demetrius next. You would actually fight Demetrius, so you're shooting for the top.
And if it was offered to me, obviously I'd have to take it. It makes me really excited. Like, I could be fighting the champ next.
Yeah.
So,
all right. How about this? If Demetrius chooses
exciting
TJ, would you
time
fight
now.
Borg as an eliminator, or if Demetrius chooses Borg, would you welcome TJ to flyweight? That for sure puts you in that mix to be next. I'm not sure you would be next right now, because those other two seem to be the hot ticket.
Yeah, I mean that's an option as well. Fighting Ray Borg and fighting TJ, I think that'd be a fun fight as well. I think TJ should have a fight with someone else in the flyweight division if he wants to actually fight for the belt, just to see if he can make the weight, if he can even perform at a lower weight class. And I think it's a good division that way. That way the belt isn't tied up with someone that might not be able to defend it later on.
Ben Nguyen's our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. He's coming off a win over Tim Elliott at UFC Fight Night 110. He also got 50 G's for that effort. Goes, what do you have for Ben?
Ben, hearing that about the division and it possibly being in jeopardy, does that kind of light a fire under you to get as much done as you can now, and also to perform the way you did for the fans, to make them want to keep a division like that?
It definitely did affect me. I mean, it affected me directly, because when someone talks about closing down division, that means like pretty much like my job. That's me. So I got really fired up before the fight. I'm not gonna lie. I was actually thinking about just putting on a really good performance, a really fun fight. I was looking to go into a war with Tim Elliott. But we ended up doing it under a minute. So, but I'll take that. It was fun, and I felt like I had to get on the mic and just say something about that, and just keep it really interesting.
Is the door closed on
man.
Joseph Benavidez, Ben?
Well, I still want to fight Joseph Benavidez. I still want that fight so bad. But I know he's going to be out until I think next year. I think he said early next year he'll be ready again. So.
All right. Well, Ben, listen.
Yeah.
Enjoy those eggs and bacon. Maybe put some lobster in it, man. Use 150 G's. Throw a steak in there as well. Celebrate. Enjoy the fruits of your labor. But we appreciate you waking up early and doing the show. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, not a problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right. See you, Ben. All right, folks. That's Ben Nguyen. You can follow him on Twitter at Ben10MMA. We'll be right back. Sure.
Lexington Steel.
They taught Andy Griffith how to whistle. Here are Gorgeous George and Goes.
I want to thank Ed Cap for facilitating the Ben Nguyen interview today, the Vince Pichel one on Monday. Thank Steve Morocco for Monday's appearance from Chael Sonnen. Brian Butler for the Max Holloway interview. Evan Dunham got set up by Goes, as did Simon Simano. I set up Gaston Milano, so I'm legit, right? Dan Stupp just kind of floated in. He's the boss. He calls the shots. And this is Royce Young, a.k.a. Jamoan, who came out. And we appreciate your friendship, your support over the years from Tag Radio, MMA Junkie. Thanks for hosting the first hour. Have fun in Vegas. And it was really, really great to see you, bud.
You guys are the best. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, folks. Tomorrow, we have nothing. We got to work on it. That's what we got to do when the show ends. Social media. Hey, give us a plug. Share those SoundClouds and the tweets that we have, and like us on Facebook at MMA Junkie Radio, on Instagram and Twitter. It really helps us out a lot. See you tomorrow. Be champions.
Lost on every deal. All you need